The Community Innovation Fund, I think, is a major initiative to instill the kind of confidence that we should be having in Quebec, in our future in Quebec. The projects are province-wide in terms of rural, urban, and have a variety of goals that are similar in that they're helping those vulnerable communities to get a leg up, to have access to jobs, to have access to health care, to have access to a better life. And of course, a better life means vitality for the English-speaking community.
I have to do chemo every 2 weeks, and I have to appointment. I have to go all the time to see other doctor too. I have a busy all the time. Who can help me? My husband is 91 years old.
What I've noticed is the senior citizens that call us, a lot of them, their children left Montreal. And unfortunately, there's also a huge community of isolated senior citizens who actually have no one. Very few people in their support group. When we applied for the CIF funding, part of the application process was looking at what we could provide and what we could do for our seniors. This program developed where we were able to interview and hire some new immigrants to Montreal and pair them up with some of our neediest senior citizens.
As a newcomer, it helped me to introduce myself to people here in a very easy, very smooth way, to break the ice between me and people, start talking to them.
We have 324 registered users. The main idea is to support low-income senior citizens and help get them to and from their medical appointments.
I have to go see the doctor, Dr. Michel. After Dr. Michel, I have to do a blood test.
The new immigrants were falling in love with our seniors and vice versa. And for our seniors, it became they were needed to help out new immigrants to Montreal, to show them the hospitals, to have them practice their English as well, which has been wonderful.
By this way also I improved my English, by talking to them and chatting to them.
Well, this is what's so important, is that the funding that we get help people, really help people.
Good heart, Anna, good heart.
And we'll be doing that on Thursdays as well, so you guys are very comfortable with the basics on how to use the computer, as well as some typing and some keyboard stuff.
There's a huge need for seniors to have computer literacy, big in English. The computer class was a big jump for us. This is the new way of offering services.
This little box right there.
So I have to put the mouse on?
Yeah, you gotta right click with your mouse. Bam, voila, excellent. So you're gonna go right here?
Well, to look up things without bothering other people, and information and what's on in Montreal. You know, seeing as the papers aren't so available anymore and don't cover it so much because most of it's on the internet.
So there's two groups. There's the beginner group and there's the intermediate group. So for the beginner group, it's just the very basics, how to shut on, how to turn on the computer, how to use the mouse, how to right click, left click, how to highlight icons, just so they can feel comfortable navigating. And for the intermediate group, it's a little more advanced, so they learn how to use search engines, they learn to compare which search engine to use, and again, using Skype, Facebook, and other engines and tools like that.
This is about helping certain individuals with needs, and it's really good for us as an organization to be able to fulfill them. So it's worked out very well that way. And now we're looking at the future of programming in the same way.
So week 3, we're going to be taking photos. We're going to learn how to add them onto the computer from the camera, maybe send them through an email so that your friends and family can see.
Yeah, I'd like to get in touch. I've lost touch with all my family in England. So when my sister passed away, I lost my contact with everybody. People move on.
So being able to use the computer and either Skype one of their friends or their family members kind of brings them closer to their family. And it also kind of creates a certain sense of independence, because one thing we do teach them is how to, for example, use Google Maps or how to plan your trip, so they're able, whether they're taking the bus, whether they're driving, they can plan their trips and know exactly how long it's going to take them to get from point A to point B.
My name is Annalise. I'm going to be walking you through the session today and taking you through the services that we offer here, specifically more around job search and career development, because that's, I think, why you're here. The Community Innovation Fund is a program or a project that we developed to really support the integration and employability of newcomers to Quebec specifically.
In Mexico is different. In Mexico, you'd have a way of doing things, and they have another way here. So the way I was doing, I was never going to find a job or having a call, and I didn't have any calls until I found yes, because there are times when you give up, and you don't feel like looking for a job, and you don't feel like, you know, I just don't want to do it. I'm a failure no matter what I do. So I found that here, they help you more in anemically and in your person, and you know, don't give up and keep doing it, keep doing it.
So newcomers face a variety of barriers. So typically they face their professional barriers, economic barriers, social barriers, cultural barriers. So when they come here, they've kind of left everything behind to start a new life. And if your second language is English, there's not a lot of options for them. So we are providing that place for them to come and get the training that they need to help them integrate into the Quebec labor market and stay in Quebec and build their life here. This is sort of what we're really trying to do. So in front of you, you have the program book. It's got everything you need to know up until August. So
I was looking to move to the IT sector, and I had no experience. So I wanted to know what did I need? I thought I needed to go back to school. And thanks to the mentorship program and the person that was assigned as a mentor, I learned that it's not necessarily the way. You don't have to invest a lot of money to follow what you want to do. I landed that job as a project manager, which was what I was searching for. This program really helped me to start finding my place in Quebec. I felt like an external person, like someone from the outside that I was never going to be able to integrate. And this program really helped me feel that there is a space for me as an immigrant. There is a space for my knowledge.
A lot of people don't really like school, so getting out there by learning how to do it and stuff helps them, because it's better than sitting in the classroom. You're outside every day getting the fresh air, and in school you're always sitting in front of a desk. And you can't really get like the experience in the classroom what you get outside.
What we chose to do with the CIF project, we refer to it here as CIF. We decided to work with those at risk of dropping out of high school. We chose to work with them to expose them to other vocational careers that were not related to the fishery or indirectly related to the fishery, in order to help them expand their horizons and to help them develop interest in other areas than just fishing.
It helps us to offer more of a streamlined course to some of these kids that normally wouldn't have that opportunity in a small school, because we don't have the wood shop, we don't have the welding shop, but we have people out around the community to go work with the mechanic, work with the welder, to give them some of these life experiences that they may not necessarily have had.
Because we're such a small place, our students and our youth don't necessarily have access to larger centers where you have more options around skills training and so on. And so this project really helped us fill a gap and a need in our community.
Youth are the future of our community, and our population continues to decline with each census, so we need to work really hard to create that sense of belonging for our youth, to ensure that they're going to stay, to find ways for them to see opportunities in staying here.
A lot of kids are quitting school to go fishing, and like they're not getting their grade 10 or 11, which they could use to go back to school. Like gives it more experience, like what you can do other than fishing. In case like fishing ever dropped out, like you'll have something to fall back onto.
This was a 2-year pilot project financed by ESDC, Economic and Social Development Canada. You know, it was really to try to maximize opportunities in that sense, and it was to create work plateaus for special needs youth, and also to create relationships with public, private partners, community partners, to be able to, you know, to engage and to create win-win situations for these youth. And so they were able to give us precious funding to be able to go through with this need that was in the community, which was to offer services, employment opportunities to special needs youth from Quebec City and the surrounding area.
4 years ago, I came back from a really tough situation for me with learning disability differences. I have like a lot of prejudices about having a learning difference, and a lot of times in normal workplaces, they just expect you to be like 100% like a neurotypical person, but you're not. So the expectations are too great. And then this year, it's all mystery novels. I'm good at organizing and structuring, and yes, I'm dyslexic, but I can still write. When you do an interview with someone and you're like, hi, my name is Ariel, I do so-and-so, I would like to apply. And they're like, oh, great, what should we know about you? And so sometimes you kind of like judge the person and you don't exactly know when to tell the person that you have a learning difference. And then when you do, sometimes they accept you and then sometimes they reject you. It's always like a juggling thing. And then when you do get the job, then do you tell them that you have a learning difference, or do you let them figure it out? Or tell them later when they like get used to you? So Dominic takes out that pressure. When you come in to do the interview, they already know that 1, you have a learning difference, 2, they know what kind of learning difference you have, and then they're already able to adjust and help you through the process.
You know, once they come out of the high school structure, there's kind of like a lack of services in the English-speaking community.
When their number gets called, they come over here to the counter and they work one-on-one with a volunteer who helps them choose some of the items in their basket. So what do we got? We've got some pasta. One of the first things we did actually when we got the Community Innovation Fund grant was we just kind of did an inventory of where youth were already engaging with us. And what we realized right off the bat was that there were way more youth asking us to be involved than we realized. One of the main focuses of, I think, the Community Innovation Fund and also, you know, ourselves as we've been focusing on youth programs is this idea of skill building, and so building professional skills or job-related skills for the future.
We need spoons.
There's no average day of work.
It's a good thing, maybe.
The only average day of work would be Monday because I do the Boomers Cafe. And even that's not average because we never know how many people are going to come. We never know if people are going to like the food we make.
We've been working on a youth development program, and we see that at the very basics, giving kids an opportunity to come in and learn about the depot at some level, and then getting them involved through coming in through the volunteer program. So having them volunteer, see how they can contribute to the community, to having a healthier community. And we have some great examples of youth who've come through, started maybe in one of our after-school cooking programs, end up volunteering, and then getting a summer job.
In the kitchen today, what are we having? So we got a huge donation of eggplants from Muscle.
Working with a lot of the youth centers in the neighborhood, we saw there's some really good youth programming, but we saw a lack of possibilities for our youth, so that could be programming for youth, young people, really young, and all the way up to young adults in job training, keeping them in school, summer jobs, giving them opportunities to see how they and their communities are part of this overall community, and to give them chances to give back.
Oh, I mean, it's an amazing bridge because now I have direct experience. And not only direct experience with food work, but direct experience with connecting with community and being face-to-face and animating workshops for huge age ranges.
One of the best parts of this project has really just been being able to honor, the desire for youth to get involved.
It was able to help me get my marks up to the point where I was able to get pretty good grades. And that's basically what helped me graduate high school, because without it, marks were low, I didn't have any encouragement. It just gives kids a way to get out of the house, which is something that's important. They're not going home to just the temptation of the video games, TV, things like that. They show up here, they have a healthy snack, and then they get their work done. Sometimes it's that aha moment, like this teacher, tutor, whoever explained it in a different way, and I all of a sudden understand. Kids need that, because in a classroom of 20 to 30 students, you don't always get that aha moment with your teacher.
We wanted to be able to support our students beyond high school. You can't just get your degree and then leave them, or get your diploma and then leave them to navigate from there.
I did grow up in the community. My family is still here. I moved away to go to school. I completed my master's degree and came back, and I was able to put what I had learned to use in my own community and help the community overcome some of the challenges that I saw in my peers growing up.
The Community Innovation Fund, it was a chance to be really creative and show the range of services that we can bring in as a grassroots organization. Our town is 53% Anglophone, so it also then limits the services that are brought out here and just adds a challenge for employability. When you haven't had a parent or anyone in your life who has gone on to post-secondary, you don't really know what lies ahead and all of the steps that you have to take. It was a no-brainer for us to reach out to local businesses, and we actually had something tangible. We now had a hook of not just, help local youth graduate, but let's get more local individuals working in your shop, working in your factory, working at your place of business, and they were really incentivized by that.
We have 18 local businesses that support us and contact us when they have a job posting, because they know that we have connections to the local youth that might be able to fill those positions, and they want to give those opportunities to the local youth to increase community vitality.
So we wanted to create a support program for the older groups. We had really focused in on younger ages, so 16 plus was our goal, and Community Innovation Fund spoke to that.
The Community Innovation Fund for us, it was a really great opportunity to take part in implementing the activities from the research center that we've been trying to put forth on the coast. We noticed that our youth, they graduated in really great opportunities, like really good education, post-secondary education programs. And the only thing is that they were always far away. They migrated, they didn't come back. And we found that we needed to find these opportunities to have them come back and settle and lay roots and start families, because we were losing our population.
We came home with the idea that we were going to work seasonal, because my husband works in the fishing industry kind of in Ontario, and he leaves for about 6 months out of the year, and it's kind of a downside for us of coming home. But when we got with the coasters, I got a chance to really develop my skill set, which I didn't realize I had.
And through the Innovation Fund, we managed to mobilize a group of really talented, successful youth that came back, and now they're implementing their profession in their field. And so far we managed to tackle like the science area, and we managed to tackle marketing communications, and we're hoping to expand into the business sector for youth to come back.
You get to tap your toes into many different fields of work that you may not be used to or expect in a job.
For us, the impact has been immeasurable. They're the youth that they're just spearheading everything. They're leading in discussions and workshops, R&D activities, initiatives, that sort of thing. So it's greatly impacted pretty much all the regions, all the communities that we're serving.
I have now the opportunity to give back to my community, which I didn't think would be possible, and really hopefully see the community thrive and possibly see my own child grow up and be able to maybe even pursue secondary education by the time she gets there here on the region, instead of having to leave if she chooses to do so, and then have a family and do everything she would like to do with her life but stay in her hometown.
So we can add any spices that we like. We could add your famous green chili.
We're on our 5th week. It's going very well. I'm learning a lot of stuff and trying to get a job after.
Students, they have 20 hours of cooking a week, plus 10 hours of like personal kind of training. They work on resume and how to work with the interview and stuff like that. So it's really like a work insertion.
It allowed us to provide training to participants that wanted quick access to the job markets, but couldn't do extensive training like a 6-month training or a 1-year training. They want something that gives them skills and that can get on the job market fast. So this project basically was geared exactly towards them. Anybody can work in a kitchen, everybody loves to cook, everybody from every culture does it. And with a little bit of language skills and a little bit of training, they get on the job market right away.
They study for 10 weeks and then they have 5 weeks internship and we have quite a lot of people, they found very good jobs after.
85% of them have found work. Some of them have gone back to school. We have one that's entering ETHQ this year. Many have joined restaurants. I've even hired a few myself. There is a lack of trained staff to work in the food industry. I'm a nonprofit organization. I have a catering service and a community kitchen, and I need staff. So this has allowed me to get my own staff while providing this for other people too.
You can always add a bit of butter if you want to, or you just turn it down so it doesn't burn.
It's kind of easy for them to find a place to work, and most of them really like the class, and in 10 weeks we found a way to cook and to improve a lot in only 10 weeks.
Hopefully I do my stage, and hopefully they like me so I could stay there for a while so I could gain experience there and then see where I go from there.
Being here, I noticed that, you know, it's hard when you're an English-speaking Black youth and trying to find a job where, you know, they're biased with the language and, you know, the area that you come from. I start coming to Desta because I didn't know the city very well. All I knew was, you know, how to go from home and how to come to Desta. So I did that every day and started volunteering my time here. From there, it became Fetty the volunteer, Fetty the receptionist, to now Fetty the tech bureau participant. So it's been improvement down the line, so I'm very happy about that.
There are a number of issues and barriers that English-speaking Black Montrealers face, systemic barriers. The unemployment rate, for example, is twice as high for English-speaking Black Montrealers than it is for English-speaking white Montrealers and French-speaking white Montrealers. So by providing these programs, we feel that we can help give younger adults like the tools necessary to improve their job prospects, get better access to training, access to post-secondary education. The English-speaking Black community is quite small, but there isn't much wealth in that community. So having more Black-owned businesses would be a good first step. The Community Innovation Fund was very helpful to Desta in that it enabled us to pilot out different projects in employability and entrepreneurship specifically. Then when those took off, the organization actually ended up changing its mission and focusing on those three areas of education, entrepreneurship, and employability. So that's where the CIF is helpful, is that we can try out these different programs. The ones that work, we can revise and improve. The ones that don't work, we can try something different. So it's given us the opportunity to try out those kinds of programs.
I could never speak to a big group of people, and one of the things Desta offered me was to just open up more. Sometimes we have important people come here like throughout the day, so it's good that I was able to practice like introducing myself, what I do. So I've been able to articulate myself very well. It's inviting younger individuals as myself to express themselves with their business ideas in hopes of running their own business, because that's kind of the goal, where it's like you can't find the opportunity somewhere else. You might as well just create them for yourself.
It has given demonstrable evidence to over 1,000 people about what can happen in Quebec if they are either gainfully employed, engaged. It has a cascading effect on their families, on friends. Through the Community Innovation Fund, Employment and Social Development Canada gave the QCGN and organizations the freedom to explore and to innovate new ways of doing things